10 seconds. Stand by. Here we go, final event of the weekend for these men here. Rope climbs and thrusters. The first round will consist of 4 rope climbs, followed by 16 thrusters, then 3 rope climbs, 12 thrusters, and finish the event here with 2 rope climbs and 8 thrusters. 7-minute cap, but I'm suspecting not a lot of these men will need that. The rope climb can be done anyhow, so as long as the athlete goes up the rope and touches that top beam of the rig, he will get credit for the rep, as long as his hands on the way down will touch the rope below that black marker. And it's on lane 8, Piotr Milzarek is the first man on to that thruster bar. Piotr Zizinski, lane 9, now coming next to him, and in this first round the athletes will perform 8 reps, then advance their bar to the next section on the floor and finish off the 16 rep count with another set of 8. Lane 8, Piotr Milzarek ready to finish his first round and head back to the rope. He's going to advance his bar first and then move back to the rig to get started with his 3 rope climbs.
And following closely behind on lane 7 is St. Leger. Piotr Milzarek working on his second rope climb right now. He only has 1 left on this second set of rope climbs.
And lane 8, Piotr Milzarek coming back to his barbell. He has to get 12 thrusters done on this round.
He will complete 6 thrusters in the first position and move forward to perform the other set of 6.
For the thruster rep to count, the athletes must have the bar on their shoulders, get down to the bottom of a squat, so hip crease below the knee, and then on the way up, get that bar overhead to a full extension of the knees and hips and arms with the bar over the body. That will credit the athlete with 1 rep. If these standards are not met, the judge will give a no rep to the athlete, and the athlete will have to repeat that repetition. Less than 5 reps to go on this second round for Piotr Milzarek on lane 8. He's in those bright yellow shorts, no shirt on. Lane number 6, Arminas Balevicius, also advancing his bar for the second time. Holding on to second place in the heat. We're coming up on 4 minutes.
And Dirk Wonderly is also done with his second set of thrusters, moving on to his last set of 2 rope climbs. And Piotr Milzarek moving on to his last set of 8 thrusters, ladies and gentlemen.
8 more thrusters to go for Piotr, and then his weekend will be over. Show some support, Berlin, please, to these male athletes as they are wrapping up their weekend. Less than 5 reps to go for Piotr. He's on lane 8. Arminas Balevicius also on his last thruster set beginning right now, and he's gonna try and go unbroken. Lane 6, Arminas in all black, but it's going to be Piotr Milzarek who sets the time to beat at 5 minutes and 9 seconds unofficially.
And Arminas Balevicius is your next athlete to complete this event. And coming in on third with his last set of 4 thrusters, the same St. Ledger. And here comes Dirk Wunderlich.
James St. Ledger on lane 7, finishing up his weekend here. 1 more to go for James. It's James's birthday today. Let's give him a little present as he comes through. Make some noise.
And we
Less
have
than a minute to go, 50 seconds before we hit the cap.
45 seconds working on their last sets. On lane 3, Marcus Eriksson, and on lane 9, Piotr Czusinski and Marcus Eriksson coming in.
30 seconds.
And the next athlete to come in, Piotr
20
Czusinski.
seconds to go. Let's bring these athletes to the finish with style. This is their last event of the weekend.
10
seconds.
Make some noise for these athletes, come on!
3, 2, 1. That does it for heat number 1. 2 more male heats coming up before we move on to the female side. Piotr Milzarek takes the heat and finishes weekend in style. This was the last event for these gentlemen, so 1 more big round of applause for them, please. Great work, gentlemen, great work.
Ten seconds. Stand by. And with that, we get the second heat of the males underway, completing 4 rope climbs and then 16 thrusters on this first round. And on lane 8, Lefteri Stefanidis only has 1 rep to go, but it is Arni Björn Christensen on lane 5 moving in, followed closely by Kasper Kammermark. Alec Horwood on lane 2 already on his first set of 8 thrusters. This is the last event for these men, and they are hungry. You can see it in their eyes.
In that first heat, the first athlete out of the first round was done in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Let's see if these guys are moving faster than that first heat.
And your
120 on the clock right now as many of these athletes are working through those last 5 repetitions of the round.
And your first athlete to move into 3 rope climbs is Alec Harwood in all black on lane 2.
On the second round, 3 rope climbs and 12 thrusters. Advancing the bar after a set of 6.
And Arnie Björn Christensen on lane 5 takes the lead on this second round and moves on to his 12 thrusters, followed closely by Alex Kotolas on lane 4, Philip Biscard on lane 6, and Kasper Kamelmark on lane 7.
Five minutes, 9 seconds is the time to be here. 5 minutes and 9 seconds. All these 4 men on the middle lanes, these blue lanes are going almost rep for rep. Philip Biscard was the first one to get started on that second set of 6. And he looks pretty fresh here. No problem for Philip. He's going to advance his bar for the final time and head over to the rope for 2 more rope climbs.
Followed closely by Arnie Björn Christensen and Alex Kotolas. All of these men are moving to the last set. And Arnie Björn Christensen on lane 5 has only 1 rope climb left, so he's your current leader now. But lane 6, it is Philip Biscard coming in through for his last set of 8 thrusters, followed closely by Arnie Björn Christensen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise. Cheer these finalists to the finish. They have 8 thrusters left before these regionals are over for them.
Lane 6, Philip Biscard almost done with his thrusters. In the red shorts, he will be the man to take this heat here and set a new time to beat at 4 minutes and 40 seconds unofficially.
And there comes Arnie Björn Christensen, your number 2 in this second heat. Kasper Kamelmark coming in 3rd. And Alex Kotolas coming in at 4th. Next up on the line, on lane 2 is Alec Harwood working on his last set of 4. And that does it for Alec, he's coming in.
All of these men are on those last thrusters. Bart Lipka, 4 more reps to go. As Alexander Ealing gets across the line on lane 9.
These men all have under 4 thrusters to go, so let's show some love for these guys, come on!
Almost done, just keep it coming. We've got a little race for the finish line here. It looks like Zach George takes it, and we get that shuffle again. Yeah, that was a long one now. Great work. This heat belongs to Philip Biscard at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. One more big round of applause for all these male athletes. Their weekend is now a wrap.
Event number 6 contains of 4, 3, and 2 rope climbs, 16, 12, and 8 thrusters. The weight on the thruster will be 155 pounds, and the time cap is 7 minutes.
And that time cap has only been met by 3 of the 19 thus far. Our next 10 athletes include a few people that have had some highs, but they've also had some pretty hard lows, including in lane number 8, Sigurður Þorsteinsson, who won the opening event, has been sliding back down since, but somebody else has become a bit of a human cannonball throughout the past couple of events in lane number 4, Mitchell Adams.
Well, Mitchell Adams did great yesterday, followed it up with a good performance on the previous event, and I'm looking forward to seeing Mitchell do the exact same thing now. This should be his event, the Cannonball.
And away we go. Time to beat thus far in heat number 2 was set by Philip Bisgaard, 4 minutes 40.70 seconds. Quick work on this short rope. Forces you to go with that legless strategy, at least for much of the way. Some of the athletes choosing to continue to do so, some choosing to lock their feet.
It's very bold to go completely legless here. I mean, it's not a lot of reps, but it's still going to save you a little bit of grip. You are moving on to the thrusters, you're going to have to rack that bar, and it's going to tax your grip a little bit as well. I would probably go really, really fast with my hands to start with, then lock in my feet, make sure to get a good tap on the crossbeam, and then come down.
England well represented after that first set of rope climbs, as it was Jack Cornthwaite there in the center of the screen in first. Fellow countryman Mitchell Adams, 1 lane over from him with no shirt, black shorts, in second.
And Mitchell Adams just carried the bar forward on his shoulders, and I just popped it overhead. Interesting technique, but it just saved him a lot of energy. I'm thinking we're probably going to see some people pick up on that in future in the weekends ahead.
Quick work on the thrusters on the left side. That's Hanna Malkowski. He will be the first one through the opening round at about 1 minute 20 seconds, and he's opened up a 8-second lead over the rest of the field.
And he's doing just what we talked about. Fast hands to start with, grabs the rope with his feet, and then goes for the touch and the crossbeam.
Cornthwaite doing a double tap of the beam, making sure that he got credit for that. He might have either brushed it or missed it on that first try.
I think the most important thing to remember for these athletes is to don't make it down until you know your judge is giving you the rep. It's easy to just let go and think I'm good to go, but you want to make sure, absolutely sure, you don't have to climb up that rope an extra time.
A no rep on a rope climb is perhaps the most punishing no rep you could possibly get, as Malkowski making his way back to the 155-pound, about 70-kilo bar. This is the round of 12. He'll advance it after rep 6. They'll move it forward every time they're halfway through a round.
And he's making short work of that. At the same time, we're seeing Jack Cornthwaite here doing the same thing. Big, strong unit, and you know he can move that barbell.
Two athletes that typically are known for their team side of things. Of course, Cornthwaite 1 year ago helping JST get to the games after he chose to go team that season for that reason. Malkowski making his individual regional debut after 4 consecutive team appearances, all with CrossFit Idol, including a top 10 1 year ago.
And so there's a lot of growing as an athlete that can be done within a team as well. I think it's smart to spend some time in a team and then move on to individuals. Not saying all individual athletes should quit for next year, but I'm just saying that if there's some things that you need to work on, a team is a great place to do it.
1 rope climb down, 1 remains for Malkowski on the far left side. He'll make the touch, and it's a 1 rep lead for him over Cornthwaite. So make it about 10 seconds, maybe 15 by the time you get that rest in that climb. Again, 4:40.7, the time to beat, set 1 heat ago by Philip Bisgaard. 8 thrusters, all that remains. He'll move it forward after rep number 4.
And still making short work of these thrusters, Hanna Malkowski.
And Malkowski will very well be a spoiler in the points race, as he's going to come in sub 4 at this rate. New event leader, and why not on a day where Russia might send their first 2 to the games? Malkowski, the event leader, also from Russia.
That was impressive. That was very, very impressive. Fast and decisive on the thrusters, consistent on the ropes. And Jack Cornthwaite is still out here on his thrusters. Facial expression maybe making it look harder than I think he thinks it is. But that run to the finish line for a good heat as well here.
It's a painful final sprint to the line here to close out the weekend for him. 4 minutes, 23.13 seconds. Good for the second fastest time thus far.
And on the floor, we've got a little fight here between Victor Långsved and Uldis Upnikis.
Långsved in the gray on the left side of the screen. Upnikis on the center of the screen, white and orange. And he's struggling with that bar, and he's just barely going to hold up Långsved in at 4 minutes and 58 seconds. There are going to be times from prior heats that will factor in now. Mitchell Adams trying to hang on as
Klaus Ugehoy.
Klaus Ugehoy, the next finisher, 5th. Here comes Adams. Showed some flashes of brilliance this weekend. He'll find himself hovering around that 15th position, maybe a top 12 in the point standings at the end.
It's pretty obvious. Give him an event that's in his wheelhouse, and he will be the monkey wrench.
Joshua Wistrup, our next finisher, as he's going to be just ahead of Sigurður Þröstarson. We have 2 athletes left, both on opposite ends of the floor, as Marcus Schmidt in lane number 10 is making his way across the line, 5:56. Final couple of reps for Kevin Winkins. And he gets the go-ahead to end his weekend of competition, rounding out our heat at 6 minutes and 10 seconds. And that is a quick heat thus far. All the top 3 all in under 5 minutes, led by the new event leader Heda Malkowski in under 4 minutes at 3 minutes 55 seconds. The first man to go sub 4 here in this regional.
And it just becomes really obvious that what you need to do is consistent on the rope climbs. And once you got to the thrusters, just like you see right here, easy work, consistent, breathing through it, clean reps. And the reason he could do that was that he was being patient on the rope, fast hands, making sure there were no reps, fast hands, lock your feet in. And once you got, like I said, back to the thrusters, it was all about consistency and good movement patterns.
Time for 5 more to find out if they'll be going to the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games, this time on the men's side, as we're ready for the final heat of the weekend here at the Velodrome in Berlin, Germany. And this one has got a little bit of intrigue, especially atop the points leaderboard, where it's just 16 points separating first through third. Roman Krennikov continuing this star-making weekend. He's in at 400 points in first. Adrian Mundweiler, 2 points back. Lucas Hogberg, 16 back. Andre Ganin, not far behind either, 32 back. And in the 5th spot, it's the comeback kid this weekend, Björgvin Carl Gudmundsson, 20 points ahead of Fredrik Agidius around that cut line.
And Fredrik Agidius finds himself around that cut line again this year, again and then competing with his friend Björgvin Carl Gudmundsson for that spot. I think they've both agreed that, you know, friendship's left at the door. When we're out here, we're going to do the best we can. But it's interesting.
And it'll be a fast and frantic finish here this weekend.
And it really will. Event number 6 is 4 time, 4, 3, and 2 rope climbs, and 16, 12, and 8 thrusters. The thrusters will be at 155 pounds, and there is a 7-minute time cap on the event.
Don't expect the points leaders or anybody around those 5 qualifying spots to need that 7-minute time cap, as we're ready to go for the final time here at the newly re-established Europe Regional. 10 athletes set to throw down for the final time. As here in heat number 4, the points leader, Roman Krennikov, will be in lane number 5. Björgvin Carl Gudmundsson, bubble athlete, lane 3. Fredrik Agidius, 1 spot out, will be in lane number 8. Away we go for the final time. The time to beat set in heat number 3. Heda Malkowski, 3 minutes, 55.75 seconds.
And these guys are going at it hard to start with, leaving absolutely nothing out there. Now, I've said in the past heats that I think you should be a little bit conservative on the first couple of rope climbs. I see none of that with these gentlemen.
First man to break away for the bar is actually Lazar Dukic in lane number 9 in the orange and gray shorts. Roman Krenikov, the points leader in the white shirt, red and black shorts, is second, with Björkman Carl Gudmundsson, Lucas Högberg, and Andre Ganin not far behind as the rest of the field joins them.
And I really don't think we're going to see any of these guys slowing down throughout the event at all.
Keep an eye on where they are on the floor as they will advance the bar every time they complete halfway through the round of the thrusters. They'll also advance it before they make their way back to the rope. There's a look at the fittest man in Serbia for the second consecutive year, Lazar Dukic, the first man to advance to the barbell.
And he did start out with a very impressive speed on the rope.
But the first man through the thrusters and making their way back to the rope is going to be Björkman Carl Gudmundsson. He needs to finish 4th or better in this event to clinch a spot in the games for a 5th consecutive year.
No doubt that he's out there trying to do everything he can to make sure that happens.
Your top 5 athletes are 5 of the top 6 here in this heat. It's 1 through 5 of the point standings along with Dukic.
And Björkman here, notice how fast his hands are to start with, then swings up, stands up, and gets the touch.
But he finds himself behind Roman Krenikov, and that has been a position that a lot of these athletes have been in all weekend long. Krenikov, who actually has yet to win an event this weekend, but he's been so consistent with 4 top 5s in the first 5 events, finding himself 2 points clear of Mundweiler for the points lead.
And Krenikov said when we talked to him a little bit earlier, he said that he was just going to go out there and do the best he could. Looks like that's going to do very, very well for him. Technique is really, really good. He hasn't been to the Russian Sports College. That's the kind of base you get there.
So while Krenikov on the left leads the way, and it's Gudmundsson in second, this man, Frederick Agidius, might find himself on the outside looking in at the end of things, as he is the 7th athlete to make his way back to the bar for the set of 12 thrusters, as Krenikov pulls away, making his way back to the rope. Gudmundsson behind him, and it was just off camera, but he was looking directly at Agidius as he did that, making sure he knew where Frederick was.
And of course, that's exactly what you need to do if you're as experienced as Björkman and in the position that Björkman is. Make sure that you know where the guy you're competing with is.
3 minutes in, and Krenikov is already making his way back to the 155-pound bar, about 70 kilos, for the final set of 8. He'll do 4, advance it forward, and do another 4. Roman Krenikov, 17th ranked in Europe North, coming out of the Open. This is his first regional appearance. And not only will it be the highest finish for a Russian athlete in regionals ever, he will be the first Russian athlete to qualify for the games. And we asked, what can he not do? For the first time, he'll win an event. There is your Europe regional champion, Roman Krenikov.
We have yet to find out what he can't do.
Now behind him, it is a 3-way race. Gudmundsson, Ganin, and Mundweiler, and it's going to be BK Gudmundsson. This will be good for what looks like 3rd in the event. He needed 4th or better to get a spot, and it unofficially has a 3rd. Adrian Mundweiler looking to be just ahead of Andre Ganin. They will finish 3rd and 4th in the heat. There will be prior times from earlier heats that will factor in.
Lucas Högberg still out there fighting for the last rep on the thrusters, finishing off now.
For Lucas, he needed 22nd or better. It does appear that he has done that. Of course, there are other times that we are going to wait for, as Bronislaw Alenkovic will be our next finisher. And Frederick Agidius will see William Kane go by him. And this will be the end of the line, most likely, for Frederick Agidius. He likes to cut it close, and this time he cut it a little too close for a little too long, it appears. It's going to be a quick one, similar to what we saw in regional event number 6. This time we're up in the calories. Instead of 30, it's 40 on the assault bike.
I remember at regionals, I thought 30 was a lot that you had to pace out because of what was coming up next. We had the burpees over the box, plus the cleans with the sandbag. Travis Williams, yet another athlete that I would love to see do well in an event like this. He held on in the previous event towards the end with that long chipper. This is more what I would say in Williams' wheelhouse, where it's you don't have to think, you don't have to strategize, you just have to go hard.
A little bit of a more controlled pace with 40 calories than we saw in the 30-calorie version at regionals. Judge's hand is up for Holden Rethwell. Judge's hand is back down for Michael Palomba, though, as he's the first athlete to the 20-foot banger.
Him and alongside Tim Paulson, who's up in the right part of your screen in the purple shorts.
In the blue shorts, top of the screen is Rob Forte. Fourth place will be Rethwell. Josh Bridges in fifth, getting to the low banger.
Now there is a strategy to this. This is a heavy block, 175 pounds and an 11-pound hammer. Look where Palomba is standing. He's standing nearly in the middle. This is not, let me back up towards the middle and I'll hit it below me. Travis Williams doing the same thing. That is not where you want to stand. Tim Paulson, however, is putting himself in a position to maximize the strike force where that's going to be. And what that's going to be is right in front of the banger, so you can hit that straight away on the way back. If you're too far back, you just end up driving the banger down into the sled instead of along the sled.
Zach Carcetti doing a good job of what you were just speaking of in the purple shirt and the multicolored shorts in terms of where you're positioning that 175-pound block. About halfway through this 20-foot mark for Tim Paulson, but he's lost ground to Rob Forte, the Aussie, going with the short strokes here on that sledgehammer.
Well, he's also pulling it a little bit. You can see he's standing in the middle, he's hitting high, he's hitting and pulling. He knows this because he's done this event before, back in 2011 when this sled banger was first unveiled at the CrossFit Games.
And Rob Forte with about 1 foot remaining. The back of that block has to hit the stopper at the end of this 20-foot track. And there is the touch for Rob Forte. He gets the clearance. He's going to run with that sledgehammer and hold it up high, Rob Forte. You got the heat win at 240. Travis Williams right behind him at 243. And Michael Palomba was the first athlete to the down banger. And he's looking to be in the third position. Holden Rethwell is right there with him on opposite ends of the floor. Palomba in the bright yellow tank top on the bottom side of the screen. Rethwell all the way at the top. Give third place in the heat to Michael Palomba.
And he got to the banger first, but he fell behind Forte and Williams. What I'm looking for is Tim Paulson, who's in the center lane in lane number 8 with the purple shorts. He was doing really, really big, strong strokes like you see Rethwell doing. That is not going to work in this event. It's a little deceiving how to move this. It's short, fast, aggressive strikes that'll move that banger the fastest.
It's what worked for Rob Forte as he has the time to beat after this opening heat of 3. Rethwell, Games rookie, will be the 4th place finisher at 3:33.4. Tim Paulson, you had that spotlight on him at the start of this one. They'll back that up pretty decently with a top 5 finish in heat number 1 at 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Zeke Grove will be our 6th finisher. We've only seen 1 heat of this event, and I gotta tell you, there's nothing complex about it, but it is sheer grunt work in this one. Alex Smith across the line just past the 4-minute mark, 4:05. We're working to that 6-minute time cap, which should not be an issue for anybody here.
You can see what this sled, this banger is doing is that it's just taking its toll. It's what the bike does. And I think a deceiving factor with this movement is how much it taxes your grip. You can see some of these guys shaking out their hands. If you hit this wrong, if you've ever swung a baseball bat and had the baseball go off the end and it kind of just shocks through the bones in your hands, that's a feeling you're gonna get if you hit it wrong on the sled with this hammer.
Zach Carcetti in ninth place. Next finisher should be Mitchell Cinnamon on the right side of the screen, and it will be Cinnamon. He'll round out the top 10 here in heat number 1. And it's a battle of California athletes for 11th. That currently led by Josh Bridges. And he's just got a combination of something just doesn't look right with Josh, and he's not getting many events that are right down the middle of the plate.
Well, I think he had one at the last one, maybe Amanda as well. Shoot, I thought he had a couple on day one. This is not one that he was going to excel at. It's just, it doesn't play in his strengths, in his wheelhouse. So this is not a bad performance, really, for Josh Bridges. This is not a good workout for him.
Jeff Patzer trying to beat the time cap. He switched those short chops. Final 15 seconds. Plenty of effort here for Patzer, one of the few athletes in the field that actually holds a full-time job as a computer programmer. And he gets to the end. Is he going to get to the platform in time? He made the lunge. I don't know if they're going to give him that one, as every 5 feet will be considered a rep. Getting to the platform is a rep as well, and he will actually fall to the time cap by a split second. But in less than half of that time cap, Rob Forte sets the time to beat here in heat number 1 at 2:41.02.
Well, he set the time to beat, but I also showed the strategy to use when it comes to this banger. Travis Williams onto the bike and knocked through these cows. He wasn't the fastest one. That went to Tim Paulson and Palumba. Paulson's just to his right. But he started fast enough that you still don't want to sell out completely because you have so much at the end. And it's the short, choppy, consistent strokes where you're hitting on the top, maybe getting away with holding just a little bit depending on how far back you go. But the strategy paid off. I think it's one athletes should use moving forward.
Rob Forte holds that sledgehammer high as he is your Heat 1 winner and the first of 3 of event number 7 here at the 2017 Reebok CrossFit Games. So that's 1 heat down, 2 heats remain, and a bit of a throwback to the 2012 Games, which will have heat number 2 coming up next. Welcome back for heat number 2 of 3 in men's event number 7 here at the 2017 Reebok CrossFit Games. Brandon Domain, Chase Ingram, and Sam Farber with you in Madison, Wisconsin at the Alliant Energy Center. So we're set for the quick and painful event number 7, the Assault Banger.
Oh, it's just dirty. That's all I can say. This is just a dirty event. Start anything with an assault bike and couple it with one other movement. You're just forced to go hard and get out of your comfort zone. 40 cals is a lot on the bike, and you're gonna have to push hard and then be technical on the 20-foot banger.
In lane number 12, from CrossFit Invictus, Garrett Fisher.
Yeah, guys, this is why the 2017 Reebok CrossFit Games are the ultimate test of fitness, because sometimes it tests the athlete's adaptability. An unknown event, they learned about this 20 minutes ago, and most of these athletes have never seen this apparatus before, making its return to the games for the first time since 2012. As CrossFit Games General Manager Justin Berg told me a few minutes ago, it's not just about being strong, it's not just about being fit, it's about being adaptable as well.
And the next 13 athletes who test their adaptability include somebody that was actually excited about this event when it was announced in lane number 1, Tommy Venus, and also in lane number 13, somebody that's had a good night already, Jason Carroll, who became newly engaged after the announcement after event number 6, as he and his girlfriend, or now fiance, Cassie, had that moment on the floor. But in terms of competitiveness, a couple of guys you're looking at include Travis Mayer in lane number 9.
Well, I'm looking at 2 guys that got here only because an event just like this that had had the assault bike in it. Travis Mayer had a miracle finish at the Atlantic region to take over 5th place. Alongside him in lane number 10 is George Sanchez, just to his left. He also had to have a miracle finish on the assault bike to get to the games. And both of these guys are not shy about pushing the pace.
George Sanchez, who you see shirtless just above Travis Mayer, absolutely sold his soul in that event. We kept waiting for him to fade through the field at the West Regional, and it never happened. And
oh,
wow!
My goodness!
26 seconds for 40 calories. Here goes the U.S. Army veteran selling his soul again in an assault bike event. Oh, he actually throws the sledgehammer, and that comes into play with what you brought up in heat number 1 with the positioning of the block.
Well, we said you need to have technique and intensity. You can't just smash, Hulk smash your way down the 20-foot portion of this event. You can grit your teeth and go nuts on the assault bike. Travis Mayer was hitting and definitely pulling. He got a little bit of a talk to from one of the head judges. George Sanchez needs to scoot up just a little bit. He's too far back. Look at him striking down on the ground. Now that's a hit and a pull. The judges are going to be on the lookout for this. I feel like he's hitting this slide more than he is the banger. It's 175 pounds. That is not light after a 40 cal sprint on the bike.
241.02. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now, was the time to beat. It is going to be absolutely decimated. In event number 6 at the West Regional, George Sanchez went at a breakneck pace, and it paid off. Here in heat number 2 of event number 7 in his first games appearance, breakneck pace on the assault bike, and it pays off again.
To get off the bike in less than 30 seconds for 40 cals is absolutely insane.
Travis Mayer, incredibly impressive, minute 58. He will be 2nd place in the heat, 2nd in the event, with 1 heat remaining. And those two guys, they, like you said, it was a miracle finish in regionals. That's a near miracle to pull off what they just did.
A little bit. I think they had a little advantage getting away with some pulling on the banger. Now, if they're not told to stop doing it, then what are you going to do, right? I'm gonna work as hard as I can until you tell me to stop.
Garrett Fisher, 231.1. Cole Sager, 232.6. And the little sadistic part of me loves watching them step off that track and run after all this event. James Newberry on the bottom of the screen will round out our top 5 here in heat number 2. Right behind him, Paul Castillo will be 6th. So our top 6 finishers in the heat will be in the top 8 of the event provisionally with 1 heat remaining, as we're at the halfway point to the 6-minute time cap. Samuel Kwan, 7th place. Next finisher, Frederick Agidius.
I'm watching Tommy Venus in lane number 1, and I almost want to say be careful what you wish for, because I think once he got off the bike, it proved to be a little bit more challenging than he was thinking at the bottom part of your screen in lane number 1.
I think it comes down to that technique, what you were pointing out again. He's standing really far back compared to that block.
Entirely too far back. You need to stand in front of that, and what you're going to be able to get is you're going to get a good horizontal strike straight back into the front face of that banger.
Jason Carroll, it's a good night no matter where he finishes for him, as newly engaged, as he will be 11th in the heat at the 4-minute mark. And 2 of the smallest athletes, in fact the 2 smallest athletes in the field, remain on the down banger with about 4 feet remaining. Cody Anderson on the right, Dakota Rager in the purple shirt on the left.
Now what I'll give to Cody Anderson, he's probably one of the only athletes that's doing this actually correctly as far as positioning, getting the handle high, good small strikes. The problem is he's just not big or strong enough to move this, say like someone like George Sanchez could. If he had that type of technique, that 1:48 time would have been a lot faster.
And let's be honest, that block is 175 pounds. It weighs more than both of these 2 men remaining on the floor. And Cody Anderson will be in under the 5-minute mark. 12th in the heat, 21st in the event thus far. Dakota Rager, the last remaining athlete. And this heat will be bookended by Army veterans. George Sanchez in first, Dakota Rager in 13th. So unlike in heat number 1, we'll have everybody beat the 6-minute time cap and strike a pose. George Sanchez, you earned it.
Yeah, he did, and he paid for it with a lot of pain and aggression. This guy got off the bike faster than I've ever seen anyone do 40 calories, let alone in the middle of a competition. This guy was manic down the sled, so much so he smashes the hammer out of his own hands. Now I'll say it's because he was going hard. It's really because he was doing it wrong. Look how far back, where he's hitting the sled itself, not even the banger half the time. But he got at such a far lead over the rest of the field, and still every time he made good contact, he made that banger move very well. George Sanchez just put up a time on that bike that I would not want to try to chase. I'm like, all right, second place is cool to me.
Yeah, a minute 48.63 seconds. Good luck to anybody in heat number 3 in trying to chase that time down, though there will be some significant threats with our last wave of athletes coming up next. It's time for pain to close out day number 2 for the men at the 2017 Reebok CrossFit Games. Men's event number 7, the Assault Banger. Brandon Domain, Chase Ingram, and Sam Farber with you here at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. And after 6 events, it's the Matt Fraser Show for the 2nd consecutive year. 82 points ahead of Iona Koski in 2nd, 100 points clear 3rd place. Ricky Garrard with our quick test remaining today.
That's a quick test, and it got even quicker, especially after what Sanchez just did. That 40 cal bike, 20-foot banger. It's power and some technique at the end.
It hurts, and those in charge know it. For more on that, we go to Sam Farber.
In 2nd place, Iona Koski. And in lane number 7, your overall leader and defending
It's all part of the reason why CrossFit Games General Manager Justin Berg says that CrossFit Games are the ultimate test of fitness. On a day like today, it's not enough just to be strong or versatile or quick. You have to be adaptable if you're going to be named the fittest on earth.
Here in heat number 3, we'll have a full field of 14 in this one, and there are some heavy hitters, not just including that man, the points leader, Matt Fraser. But in this one, a lot of people that have actually done this event in the past, including Scott Panchik, who finished 7th in the 2012 double banger. Ben Smith was 10th in the similar event in 2012. As we take a look at our lane assignment, Smith will be in lane number 3. Panchik will be in lane number 1. But somebody that you want to keep an eye on here will be in lane number 13, one of the strongest men in the field, Alex Anderson.
Well, it's a tough dude on that bike, but what Ben Smith needs to do is he needs to take advantage of this event having experience, because he's sitting all the way down. And, you know, one guy I think to also look for is Ricky Garrard. I'm going to say it early so I don't look like I'm trying to make up for later. This is a guy that is not afraid of anyone on the field when it comes to an assault bike and just some pure grunt work at the end.
At 27 seconds in heat number 2, George Sanchez hopped off the assault bike. Nobody is going to catch that pace here in heat number 3. But I'm already seeing some hands go up. Alex Anderson will be the first one off the assault bike at 33 seconds. Patrick Vellner right in line with them. Vellner in the yellow shorts on lane number 4. Anderson in the bright yellow shirt in lane 13. Third place was Cody Mooney in the blue and yellow in lane 14. Chasing down the time of George Sanchez, 1 minute 48.63 seconds, and an ultra tough time to beat at that.
I like what Vellner's doing. Look how far forward he is on the banger. A good horizontal strike. Brent Fikowski just to his left. Super technical, not known for really being super aggressive with movements like this.
Noah Olsen off camera in lane number 10 has taken the lead on this portion despite not really having the best technique. We've talked about positioning compared to where you are on the block, but he is just shoving that thing down the 20-foot track. 15 seconds until the time to beat of 1 minute 48 seconds. In 6 events thus far this weekend, we've had 6 different winners. And Noah Olsen is trying to be the 7th, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. George Sanchez in heat number 2 is going to take the event win. Where is our heat winner going to come from? It looks to be Noah Olsen. Second fastest time thus far is Travis Mayer, 1 minute 58.22 seconds. That will stand as well. But Noah Olsen will take the heat, and he'll take 3rd place in the event at 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
And one of the last guys off the bike who I thought would be the first is Ricky Garrard, he's sitting in lane number 6 above Fikowski and Vellner, who are well ahead of him in the middle of the field. But once he got to this banger, he's picking up where his other brethren left off. This guy is crushing this banger.
But it wasn't enough to catch Brent Fikowski, who will take 2nd in the heat, 4th in the event. It just dumps the sledgehammer into the crowd. Ricky Garrard will beat out Patrick Vellner because Vellner forgot to bring the sledgehammer with him. Ben Smith will finish. Jason Smith quietly finishing 4th, passing Vellner as well. And Matt Fraser, unfamiliar position for him. There's been 21 events since the start of the games 1 year ago. There's only been 1 time he hasn't finished in the top 10. It was the deadlift ladder, which you can't really help much. Matt Fraser, for the 2nd time in 22 events since the start of the games last year, will finish outside of the top 10. Two athletes left. And it'll be Janikowski on the near side of the screen and Logan Collins, who will be our next finisher in 13th place. I'm actually absolutely shocked at the athlete that finished 12th, and that being Alex Anderson. And Janikowski, Matt Fraser's closest rival in terms of points, was 2nd in points position, 82 points back. And Matt Fraser, despite not having a strong finish, 20th in the event, will pull away from Koski.
And Koski was hanging tight on top of the leaderboard the entire time. And sometimes you just run into a wall or a block in this portion, and that, you know, there's a lot of power involved. There's a lot of skill involved, and just the willingness to suffer and focus. You got to really be paying attention to how you're swinging, how you're striking. You can see the grit playing a big factor in fatigue in this as well.
How about this? Jason Smith giving a little motivation to his Meridian compatriot. And Janikowski, a couple of events today that just don't go his way. He's not the largest athlete, not the strongest athlete. And he'll bring up the rear of the field here in heat number 3 at 4 minutes, 39.77 seconds. Good for 33rd place in the event. But that man won't be an event win. He'll finish 3rd in the event. But your heat 3 winner is Noah Olsen.
Guys just screaming off the bike. Vellner was the first one off. Alex Anderson was just behind him at the top part of the screen. And I like the intensity that Vellner had, and more so the positioning. He wasn't messing around too much. Olsen sitting a little bit far back, but in that position, you know, you get a little bit of a hit, you get a little bit of a pull. I think it's too far back, but if you can take advantage of that sliding. And Fraser, and I wasn't sure if it's the hand position that might have been the issue on the banger, but he didn't look super comfortable with that towards the end.
How comfortable do you feel with whatever Dave Castro might be able to throw at you over the next couple days?
Hopefully I've prepared for everything. I've chopped wood one time at my uncle's house in my entire life, so that one exposure paid off, I guess.
He might have you do it some more.
Yeah, definitely. Coming, Uncle Mark.
Thank you, Noah.
Thank you.
Well, thanks Uncle Mark for Noah's performance here.